random facts of the world of sports that sometimes pop out of Cam Underwood's head. But man, yeah, good to be here. Good to be with you guys on not a Saturday. Lord Jesus. That's how much I want the season to get here that I almost said Saturday, but it's Wednesday, clearly. But yeah, man, good stuff. So here we are. Let's talk.
Especially with this transfer portal humming as it has been now for 6 or 7 consecutive cycles, 2 per year for about 3 years now. We, of course, come across names at times in which highly touted, successful high school players, much pursued and coveted across the landscape, and then maybe they get lost, maybe because they just didn't fulfill expectations, others because of injuries, and then here we are a couple years later, and said player is out in front because their name is in the transfer portal. And of course, at the time of his recruitment and signing, Trevante Citizen was a big deal out of Louisiana.
Huge deal, man. Was committed to LSU for a good long time, flipped him late there in that cycle. I think that's when Brian Kelly went down there and he decided to open things up. Was a top 10 running back nationally in that class, is pushing towards top 5. Big, fast, strong, can block, run past you, run over you, catch the ball, score from pretty much anywhere at, 6'1.5" and 228 pounds. It was just the total package. But unfortunately, some of our more highly touted running backs in recent memory have befallen the same ill fate at Miami, which is a knee injury in practice as true freshmen. That happened to Lorenzo Lingard. Remember him, 5-star all-world running back. Boom. And that derailed his career. He transferred to Florida and he transferred somewhere else and scored a couple touchdowns, but was never the, super duper star he was supposed to be. And unfortunately,
where he landed?
After
the University of Akron.
Akron, yes, that's right. That's right. I knew it was. I could see the colors. I wasn't sure if it was Akron or Toledo in my head, so I didn't want to be wrong. But I should have embraced failure. But yeah,
I just thought that was for a guy that kicked around with Florida, Clemson, was a Miami commit at one time. Then for him,
Lingard was on campus. No, he got injured as a freshman here.
Okay, Miami. It went Miami,
Florida, Akron.
Never Clemson. Who am I thinking of? I thought he went.
No, that was DeMarcus Bowman.
Oh yeah.
From Lakeland, who went to.
And then it was just funny because one night I flipped on like a Mac game and I saw Lorenzo Lingard's playing for Akron. Look at that.
Right, and I hope that he's able to get it together and even have that same kind of career arc. But the injury was so serious. Trevante Citizen missed 2 years, guys. We kept talking about bringing up I haven't seen him. And when I have, he's had that super duper gigantic knee brace on his knee because it was pretty catastrophic, unfortunately, for him. And, had a bad showing in the spring game. He fumbled the ball and got benched the rest of the end and said, you know what? Maybe a change of scenery. It's clearly, despite all best efforts and intents and desires, not working here at Miami. And with all these guys, again, I have no ill will to them personally. I hope that it ends up working out. But yeah, I would say those are probably the 2 biggest running back recruit commits we've gotten in the last decade. And both of them injured a knee. Lingard left earlier, I want to say, than did Citizen, who was here for the 2 full years. But yeah, really, tough to see a career, derailed like that because, I was talking with a friend on the way home on the phone. It's understandable for me at my big age not to be the same kind of athlete that I was when I was in high school, because that was a lifetime ago for a lot of people probably even watching this, that I was in high school and I was that kind of athlete. For Trevante Citizen, that has to be foundation. This is existential for him of dude, I'm still me 700 days from when I was one of the world's greatest athletes, and my body won't let me do that anymore. And you had to feel for a guy like that. I said it when I came on here after, Malik Young had to retire medically, at 20 years old. Amon Richards, same kind of a thing. But yeah, hopefully Trevante Citizen is able to land somewhere and carve out himself a good career and, get that degree and probably go pro in something other than sports, which is a definite shift from what his trajectory looked like previously. But yeah, so that's one guy off of the roster. I think that Miami wanted a running back in the portal, this new portal window that just opened yesterday. It opened on Tuesday, not Monday, for whatever random reason. But I think that now goes from a want to a need. Damian Martinez from Oregon State. Don't overcomplicate things. We got the quarterback. We got plenty of wide receivers. Hopefully we get another like ace wide receiver out there. But come on down, be the second part of the Thunder Squared running back duo with Mark Fletcher. Get your consistent 6 yards a carry. Might even go up because Miami's offensive line is great. And go from there. But that was one guy who left from the roster. Logan Sagapolu, who transferred in from, I forget where, maybe it was Oregon, but a rotational backup offensive lineman, also has indicated that he's going to continue his career elsewhere. And then the big one that I was, not because it's going to make or break this season, I was hoping that he would stay and then be in the quarterback battle for next year. But Jakari Brown, after the spring game, decided, hey, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna go somewhere else. And I think that there's plenty of schools that he can go to and fit in and play really well. He might have to drop down a little bit to group of five or whatnot. N'Kosi Perry went to FAU and did really, good things, maybe something similar. I think that Jakari Brown is a Power 5 talent. I don't know that his skill is all the way there, but again, he's when he gets off the bus, you're like, dude, this kid is 6'4.5", 230 pounds, got shoulders like this, can run over you, can launch the ball 70 yards. All the parts and pieces are there for success. He just needs to improve his demonstrable skill passing the ball. But if he wants to go somewhere that's going to let him run the ball a lot and scheme things open, I don't see why he can't be KJ Jefferson, or something similar to that. But in Miami's case, he's off of the roster. So now you're going to solidify probably Emery as 2, Poffenbarger as the 3. Another guy who had a really tough spring game, Reese Poffenbarger. But yeah, Emery, Poffenbarger, Judd was always going to redshirt. And then you bring in Luke Nickel off at least one state championship at Milton, where last year, he slayed Giants all the way to a state title in Georgia. Maybe he does that again. And then you have him, Judd, Emery, and Reese, or if Reese leaves, whomever else. But instead of having 5 in the room this year and next year, gets down to the real number you want to have, which is 4 quarterbacks in the room. Again, wish him well. Wish it would have worked out. Just needed to see him be able to pass the ball more consistently for Jakari Brown, and that never really happened. Even with steps along that path, there's still miles to go before he's really game ready in that output on the field. So those are the real big ones that have hit the portal so far. I don't think that Miami needs a quarterback right now. Definitely does need a running back, definitely does need a wide receiver. And there are some other guys that could, find themselves maybe a little bit further down the depth chart who also, make their way into the portal. We'll see about that. But, those are the big ones. I saw another article that had somebody's name in there who's not a scholarship player. I didn't learn it. I don't care. Like, I know all the scholarship players, guys. If I see a name that, I don't know, and y'all know that y'all like to pull out random names from the middle of nowhere, and when it's like, hey, tell me about this recruit, and I usually know it's somebody on the roster whose name I don't know, they're not a scholarship player. Miss me. So don't care. Okay, they're going to have a great life. They're going to do the thing. But in terms of the football team that should be competing for championships, immaterial, that other person. So whatever. But that's where things stand. We're going to move forward. And yeah, obviously we're going to, I am a fan afar of all these guys who go elsewhere. That's why I watched so many SMU games. If you remember me live tweeting those through last season, because there were 10 dudes, or you had 10 dudes left here. We're like, cool, we're gonna go back with Coach Lashley. Great, so I'm gonna follow these guys as they leave Miami. We'll talk about them a little bit down the road, wherever they land and whatever they end up doing. But that's where things stand with the portal as of now.
I'm going to ask you a question that would otherwise be a random question, but because of what you just stated, it's not. And that is, who is the last walk-on player that you remember because he actually turned out to be a player?
Last walk on. So, Jesus, number 34, Ryan Ragone was a walk on who earned a scholarship. Nantambu Akil Fentress at safety was a walk on who earned a scholarship. Maybe there's another person in there, but like
So
those
it's
are two that,
obviously extremely rare.
yeah, but those are two that like really popped to the front of my mind. Of like, yeah, I was a walk on and then earned, but like that's that's fantastical movie stuff. Like that rarely happens, especially like at the I mean, like technically you could be like, oh well, Jimmy Graham or Rafael Akpajori, like the basketball players who like came over and like that, but like that's not in the heart of the question. You know what I mean? Like even when he played basketball for all those years, everybody was like, Jimmy Graham might want to make his way across campus over there to the football department because like as a 6'6.5", a 6'7" power forward, like yeah, he's probably like 6'5" and 3/8 or whatever, like going over to football, buddy, and he's made himself a lot of money doing that. But yeah, I would say those two dudes, I think, with Fentress and Ragone. I think, yeah.
He might make his way to the Hall of Fame.
That being Jimmy Graham, yeah,
Yes.
it's possible, So, but yeah, glad he finally decided, let's take it back to high school, because he's from Texas, so of course everybody plays football. And yeah, he made that move. But yeah, I would say those would be probably the ones off the top of my head that earned scholarships and ended up playing to varying levels of success, but that's not part of the question.
After 14 years, it appears as though Jimmy Graham is about done after 719 receptions and 89 touchdowns. Or maybe I'm just writing him off because his last 2 years have been pretty sparse in regards to production. But back in the day, 99 catches, 85, 86, 85, 16 touchdowns for a tight end in the NFL. Good Lord.
Pretty incredible.
Falconer TRX, you're pretty incredible. We appreciate you showing up first and foremost. Thank you so much for that. The super sticker to get us off the schneid and get us going. Falconer TRX following up with, will Miami turf factor in recruiting Damian Martinez?
Absolutely. It's the foundational issue. He is a big turf guy. We're talking about the Kentucky bluegrass. We're talking about, the crabgrass around the edges. We can't have that because, those are really weeds. But, we're going to send just the foremost turf scientists on the in-home visit that's going to happen and everything. It's going to be, it's going to be a really great conversation. Hopefully, he's really amenable to all of the things that we say. But yeah, turf is going to be really right at the very tip of at the top of the conversation. Hey, good to see you. Let's tell you about the turf, and that's going to be the thing that gets him to Miami. Mark my words.
Thomas Hill says, it would be great if you guys could start on time. So this is all my responsibility. Nothing on Cam, but it's all my responsibility. But I do have back-to-back shows. Let's keep that in mind. Number one. Number two, Thomas, if you want to contact me, I will refund your price of admission.
Hey there.
This is free content.
Also, I was scatterbrained and venting about the secret day job for a second, so I had to get that out before Mark actually hit the go live button as well. So I will take some ownership of that, but we do the best that we can, and we appreciate you being here, bro.
Falconer TRX back with this one. Love the spring game on campus. Show off the crib. It's an intimate setting.
Yeah, and it's a catch-22, man. It was at Cobb Stadium. That's the track and field stadium right next to the football department, and like it's between the Hecht Athletic Center and the Mark Light Field baseball stadium. Like when people hit home runs over the scoreboard in left field, that's where they land over at Cobb Stadium. Like that's literally on the other side of the left field, the scoreboard out there in left center. And they brought in some extra stands and everything. I was going to go, but I went out to brunch with my parents on Saturday, and I had 3 bottles of champagne. So I decided that I was going to stay home and watch. So, sorry. which was just a better idea for everybody because 3 bottles of champagne is a lot of mimosas. But yeah, man, it's a small. I mean, like, remember, I'm an alum. I've been to that place. It's really small, so you can bring in 1,500 stands or whatever, or 800. I don't think it was even 1,000 that they added on top of what's there. But yeah, it's going to be really intimate. But the thing about it is, it's on campus. The campus continues to have further development. Like my old dorm, I believe, is gone. They're putting in 2 new freshman dorms, and I lived in my freshman dorm all 5 years because it was literal steps away from the School of Music, and I have the rest of my life to live off campus, like I do now. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's getting developed. There's supposed to be this new football operations center on that athletic side of campus. They do little updates to like Mark Light and to the all these different things. So you're seeing a lot that's right there, like right off the corner of Santa Amaro Drive, and everything. So, and Ponce de Leon, that's the intersection. So it's great to see. And then you can also just have ESPN cameras be like, yo, wander around a little bit. Go see the Shalala Student Center. Go look at the pool deck. Go over to the old UC. Go over to the School of Music that has that new beautiful music library that broke ground my freaking senior year that I never got to like have. But it's the one that has like the half wall of glass on the south end of the lake overlooking. It's gorgeous modern architecture. So go around and see that. Like even just tell the cameraman, turn the camera off and go look at the human scenery, if you will, on campus as well, and everything. And you're able to bring the biggest thing with that is you can host an incredible recruiting event, as opposed to having the game at Traspal where, okay, cool, you're going to have students there or, recruits there, but you cannot host them in the same way if it's off campus or if you go to Orlando for a spring game or things like that. So it is, or even, I mean, you can do a version of a thing at Hard Rock. It's not the same though. And that's the real big benefit, I think, is being able to have a really great recruiting event experience akin to Paradise Camp or Legends Camp or whatever they call it now. Remember years ago, and I looked it up, like the 2014 and 15 Paradise Camps had more talent than like Nike's The Opening. When you see all these guys on Sunday, Alex Leatherwood, Jerry Judy, Hazelwood, like they were all there together at the same time on the same day. That's the kind of event that you can have when you do it on campus. Is it restrictive? Yes, because you're really going to have personally invited people, high dollar donor, people, and like families of players and families of recruits. Or if you're somebody like me who can get a credential, yeah. But like I said, I had 3 bottles of champagne. Tough. But outside of that, Joe Schmo who's a Miami Hurricane fan or alum who lives in Bradenton. They're not driving down across Alligator Alley and getting into that game. So it's just like where you want to have that connection to the team, you're not necessarily able to for everybody. So that is the downside. But I think that, look, it showed really well on television. All reports are that they had such a great experience in running that as a recruiting event that though I would love to have a larger Canes Fest spring game, Hard Rock Stadium, event, I see the value of having it on campus, even with the negative parts of it that I already detailed.
Super chat. Thank you so much, Paulo. Who would be the ideal wide receiver transfer portal target?
Somebody really good. Whether it was like an Evan Stewart type player, like I want somebody who is incredibly athletic and also good. Yeah, like just the best player and athlete that you can get, because I think that we need to continue to increase the level of athleticism on this roster, especially at skill. And then just the best player that you can get. I mean, there have been dudes in previous years, that Miami has missed on, unfortunately. But, even if you're looking at a guy like a Juice Wells when he transferred up, like that would have been great. Like a Tez Walker, who really didn't do much except for having 547 yards against Miami last year. But like, yeah, somebody who's a great athlete and also a good player. And yeah, we are early on in the process right now, so we do need to see who else goes in. But if I were to like build a player or build a portal prospect, somebody who runs 4.5 or under, probably 6'2". I need them to have some size to them. So like 6'2 plus, 200 pounds plus, preferably from a big school. So we know that they have had quality coaching. Would love someone who had an all conference or two, or borderline all American, even if it was like a third team or fourth team, Playboy All American or whatever. I don't even know if they still do those, even though they used to. Like with 2 years of eligibility, potentially could go to the league right away after this year with a strong year. Yeah, someone with that kind of build would be splendiferous.
Going to, well, yes, the same side of the ball. I thought we were going defense here with Falcon or Axe. Back to the wide receiver position. Miami needs deep threat, tall and fast playmaker.
Yeah. And even if you want to look back in the, Miami Hurricanes past, if you want to say like, I had a Yatil Green type, a Lamar Thomas type. Oh my God. Give me a Lamar Thomas. 6'3", 195 pounds from Texas, can run sub 4.4 and make play. If that player exists in the portal, yes. If you want to say, you know what, I like mine a little bit more muscular, and also who will throw hands and beat the bedevil out of guys like Cortland Finnegan. If you want to have somebody in the mold of an Andre Johnson, I'm good. 6'1.5", 6'2", 210 pounds. With 4.3 speed, and like, so we can even look at archetypes of Miami Hurricanes past and say, yeah, someone like that. I mean, hell, what I wouldn't give for Amon Richards right now, man. And that's no slight to him. Amon Richards was that dude until he had to retire. Go back and look, jumping over people at Notre Dame as a freshman, that bowl game in Orlando. I remember just because they had the cornerback playing with his heels at 10 and bailing from Amon every single play. And I was screaming there next to my boy Lou. And I said, just throw him a now screen. And that hut, boom, and throw him the now. Throw him the ball and let him cook. And then they hit him on that drag underneath. What happened? Barrios gets in front. He goes and scores. Things start rolling. Amon was that dude. I would, but if you look and say, okay, well, those are 4 different guys with 4 different like kind of body types, but it kind of shows you like I need a guy, like a guy that it's not even about the play. He's a people. Like him being on the roster is its own play because it's about the guy, not about the scheme. 4th in the ball game, throw it to him, throw it to him. It is Michael Jordan in 1986 against the Cavs when they were drawing up a play for, I forget the guy's name, but nobody knows his name. And he just, give me the fucking ball, and just walked out of the huddle, and Doug Collins, yeah. And then, that's when he did the dance and everything, got away from Craig Elo.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah, where he could.
They were drawing up the play. How am I forgetting this? They drew up the play for somebody else?
They were. Doug Collins was drawing. Multiple people have said this. Multiple guys who were on that team. He was drawing a play up for. God, it wasn't Scott Tolzien, but it was something like that. But it was like his name. It rhymes with that. God, I almost had it. But he was drawing up a play for this other guy, and everybody's sitting there, and Michael's just like, man, give me the fucking ball. It just goes, and Doug Collins is like, yeah, sure, cool, whatever. And that's why it took him so long to get open, because everybody in the gym knew the ball's going to Michael. And so Craig Elo's doing everything. You have like a Larry Nance or a Brad Doherty who's cheating over that way. Everything was whatever. Give me the ball because I am the play. It doesn't matter what you draw. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. Give me the ball. I need a receiver like that. I need a playmaker. I need a Lamar Thomas, a Teal Green, an Andre Johnson, an Amon Richards, right? And the list goes on, especially if you want to talk about players from other teams, right? Hell, I would prefer he not be this small, but if he's as fast as Santana Moss, give me that. You know what I mean? But I need somebody who it is. Where it becomes about the guy, not about the scheme. That's the kind of receiver that I need.
I've got an article here, and if I could sift through it, I'm going to find that name because I will know it as well, because that's when I knew the NBA. And I can't think of who that would be. Oh my goodness, this article goes in all sorts of different directions, but it should give the name because that's what it's about, this article. Anyway, I'll find it because I'd like to know that name too. The other thing that I wanted to know, because when these things are stated, it drives me crazy. And when he said about an all rookie team in the NFL and Tyreek Stevenson, I verify with two different sources. He actually did not earn first team. I don't know if they go past first team, all rookie in the NFL at cornerback. That went to Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois and Joey Porter. Daryl Porter.
Okay.
Yeah, those were the two that received it. This also reminds me, this is completely off topic, but my son sent me a game a couple weeks ago that I could get addicted to, but fortunately I've been disciplined enough. They give you they also have an NBA version, NFL version, but I've been stuck on the Major League Baseball version where they give you a grid of 9, like a Brady Bunch grid. Have you seen this?
Yeah, where you have to find a player who played for both with the lowest.
Yeah, played for both, or had a career 300 batting average, plus played second base, all of that. And if you're a big baseball fan, it's not difficult. Not too difficult to get a perfect, unless you got a brain like mine, which knew every statistic known to mankind like 20 years ago and cannot believe who I can't remember now because I've been so removed from it that I'm like, oh my word, I can't remember who was in the rotation for the Devil Rays in 2000. And then if I look at it, I'm like, I know all those guys. But anyway, James Shields and Scott Kazmir, etc. Anyway, but the other trick to it to get a really excellent score is you try to come up with the answer that is the most obscure answer, because it gives you a percentage of how many people guess that. So if you had like the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, you wouldn't want to put Roger Clemens. Of course, you wouldn't get a perfect score, so you could, but he's going to be the first one people are going to think of. Okay, that played for both the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. Roger Clemens. You wouldn't come up with somebody obscure. So it's just a fun game. And what's that have to do with this? Well, just basketball and NFL trivia, I guess. All right. So we also have Falconer X chiming in with love Lamar Thomas. He has podcast Get Him On.
Nice.
We can always attempt.
I looked it up. I got the year wrong. It was 1988 that was the shot. And the player that he was drawing the play up for was 10-year veteran out of DePaul, number 40 in your program, Dave Corzine.
Dave Corzine.
Which is why I said Scott Tolzien. See, when I knew it was, But yes, that was, as the story goes from multiple people, he was drawing a play up for Doug Collins, the coach at the time, drawing a play up for Dave Corzine. And Mike went and cussed at everybody and said, give me the fucking ball. And that was what preceded the shot on Elo to send them home in the playoffs in 88.
I'm going to make the obvious statement, but this is Doug Collins overthinking things because he was a brilliant tactician.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Former number 1 overall pick, wasn't he? When he played?
Yeah, with the Sixers.
Yeah.
I believe. Dave Corzine was not, from my recollection, like a playmaker. He was like a spot up shooter. Dave Corzine?
Yeah. Called him the lumberjack, 6'11", 250 pounds.
Yeah. He was like the first version of Bill Wennington, Bill Cartwright.
Cartwright was on that team as well. But yeah, he played 81 games that year, started 7, was a 6-point a game scorer. I'm not going to go look up the box score to see what he had that day, but yeah. How things could have been different if Doug would have gotten his way that day.
That's and then of course Phil Jackson, less than a decade later, was calling up a play for Tony Kukoc instead of Scottie Pippen, which of course is not nearly as egregious, but by any stretch, because Kukoc turned out to be a tremendous player, but it did not serve the seniority and the star ranking on that team well.
Yeah, and remember, Scottie Pippen set out the rest of that game, that final play, and Kukoc hit that shot from like 35 with the defender in his face. So, but anyways, back to football.
Kukoc, of course, at some point earned Jordan's respect. I've heard him talk about it. They knocked him around pretty
in the Olympics
a lot when he first got there. They weren't real happy, this guy coming in. Paulo, appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for that. Oh, I was going to serve this one up at some point. Thank you for the reminder, because I think I would have missed it because we started talking about guys like Dave Corzine. Do you see Miami kicking the tires on one Cormani McClain?
No. Cormani loves, reportedly, or according to people I've spoken to, he loves recreational items a little bit too much. And he was unfavorably, from a behavior standpoint, compared to a couple of players from the past whose names I'm not going to say. But none of those were things that engendered any kind of warm feelings over here. So having heard all of that he's very focused on his recreation and also not necessarily a great citizen in the community and school and program. No, I'm good. His chance was when Mario went to his house and he let Cormani put on the slipper, the loafer, or whatever, and everything. And then, look, we all knew what time it was when Cormani mama came on the timeline talking about my son not signing today, deal with it. Schmoove, cool, good, great, wonderful, and glorious. Vaya con Dios, do what you're going to do, and you're going to do it somewhere else. No. You cannot try to build a positive organization and bring in someone who, even if, I will admit, some of what I've heard has been hearsay, right? But even if half or a quarter of that is actually what the situation is, you cannot have that. You cannot have that. So I say no, and live with him going wherever he wants to go to do whatever he wants to do. But no. Absolutely not.
Well, to back that up, Deion Sanders was asked roughly 8 or 9 games into last season, why is Cormani McClain not playing? And Deion Sanders plainly said, not showing up at meetings. When he does show up, he's late. We track film study. They've got some kind of tracker where they can gauge how much film you're watching. He's not watching film. He's not prepared. He's not prepared to play the game.
Right. So why is Cormani not playing? Ask Cormani. That's him with his lack of doing what needs done. And yeah, it just, no.
Whatever happened, Cam, to a similarly troubled, maybe in a different way, but troubled linebacker from about 3 to 4 years ago, who everybody was out of their mind to go get? And I believe, I cannot come up with his full name, but I believe his nickname was T2.
Terrence Lewis. Yeah. Terrence Lewis. He went to Maryland, and then I'm not even sure. Terrence Lewis. You're saying UCF? That looks like him. Yeah, it said UCF when I just Googled it, and everything. So he transferred there on January 2nd of 22. He entered the transfer portal in December of 22, and I don't know that he landed anywhere from then. So, yeah, Maryland people who've landed elsewhere. Somebody went there, someone went there, someone went there. Sorry, I'm doing really bad podcasting of like reading an article live on air, but you'll deal with it. Wow, they had lots of good players. Like Chop Robinson was there. Terrence Lewis, former 5-star linebacker Terrence Lewis, ranks 4th-rated recruit in Maryland history. Never played for the Terps in 21 due to a torn ACL. Transferred to UCF after the season. Had 1 solo tackle before transferring to the JUCO level in 2 games at the time of the writing of this article in 2023. He had played in 2 games and recorded 0 stats. So maybe he's out there to land somewhere else coming back from Garden City JUCO. But yeah, that's... And so far as I can tell, the path and story of T2, and what a memory on the nickname. But yeah, that was him. And we said, I see people in the chat saying it. I wasn't looking over there, but you are correct. But remember at the time, and you guys can go back and watch the videos, I said then that Wesley Besainth, the younger 4-star linebacker, was the better linebacker at Miami Central that year, even with Terrence Lewis, the 5-star. I said it right here. You can go back. I don't know what episodes those were. Go back and look, because your boy was right then, which is me telling you that you should listen to me, because I got the receipts on so many times I'm right. And I will also admit it when I'm wrong. But then I was absolutely right.